So my name is Germán Bencci. I'm the founder of CodeYourFuture, and I'm going here to tell you a little bit my story and what I have learned through the organization in terms of like how to create projects that create social impact. CodeYourFuture started 5 years ago. And we started really, really small. So I want to tell you a little bit about that story. If you can write any thoughts you have while I'm talking in the chat, that would be fantastic. And then during the Q&A, we can go through it. Okay, super. So first of all, I'm going to just give you a little bit of background about myself. Sorry, this is So CodeYourFuture, how to create meaningful and lasting social change. The way how we do things is fighting social inequality by launching careers in tech. So this is like what we work specifically on. And I would summarize that as saying that this is about making dreams that people have real and creating a lasting, sustainable change. Great. So I come from this place called Mérida in Venezuela. So I'm from Latin America, and I had a very nice, beautiful childhood. This is my hometown. It's in the Andes, fairly close to Colombia. However, as it happened, life changed quite a lot in my later years as a teenager and an adult. And Venezuela changed a lot. And then in a few years, now it has become more of this, which if I think some of you might be from Syria, you might be very familiar with this situation. Venezuela was a fairly wealthy, prosperous country. And when around 10 years ago, it started declining a lot. And nowadays, it has a massive migrant crisis with millions of people that have left the country literally walking. And I'm telling you this not because I was one of them, because I was actually very fortunate, very lucky to leave the country years before this, but this is a reality of it. And this is one of the just serendipitous things that has happened in my life. So I'm going to present today just a series of mantras about how to create social impact. And then if you're interested, we can keep talking about it, keep talking more about this in the Q&A. The first thing is, when people are trying to think of social change, when people are trying to think of all the things that are happening in society, all the difficulties, all the things to improve, to solve in this fairly crazy world, is that it's just the task is so monumental. We're talking about hundreds of millions of people living in poverty, about lack of massive education, lack of basic resources like water. So where do we start? And that's why I want to emphasize this one thing, this very first thing that allowed me to start doing something and not worrying about wanting to change everything at the same time. There's no one in this world that can change all the things that are not working, but we can change one person's life. And if we start with that one person, that can guide us to create more change, more impact. Now, what am I talking about this change is about allowing the person to change the course of their lives. So in the case of Mona, Mona arrived to the UK and she was working in a laundry shop for many years. But her dream was to offer another opportunity to her child and to become a role model for her. One day, the child comes to her while she was just working in laundry, and she was asking him, "What do you want to do in life?" And he was like, "No, I shouldn't bother with much. Why? Why should I do it? I can just live on benefits." That becomes the moment where she realizes she had to do something. She had to become someone else, and that's how she came to CodeYourFuture and started learning software development. to be able to start a career, because actually she had a lot that she can offer. She had a lot of skills. She had a lot of opportunities. It took her more than 12 months to go through that process and to find that lasting change. But once it did, now she is another person. So this is the kind of change that I'm talking about, and I will be happy to support you if there's anything I can do in that journey. Or the life of Ahmed. Ahmed comes from Syria. He never managed to get to university because the war started there, and his life was completely interrupted. So when Ahmed applies to Code Your Future, he was earning a minimum wage job in a shop. But his dream was always to learn something technology-wise, something technical, and also goes through this organization and learns the tools that are required to start a career and change his life and give him another meaning and get him to understand that there is so many things that he could achieve once he have a certain level of knowledge. Or the life of Louis. When Louis spent nearly a year homeless in London, having a really tough time, he managed to find an organization that brought him out of that situation. And then he said, okay, now I really want to be able to start something fresh, to have a new beginning. He had never written a line of code in his life, didn't know anything about it. But after the support of a whole community of people, they were here to share their skills, their knowledge, their contacts, he was able to start a career, and now has a meaningful earning, meaningful living. So obviously this is not about code. It doesn't matter what you're thinking on what kind of change you're interested in, but it is about, the thing I want to highlight is if we concentrate on that change of one person, a lot can happen. And then final life of Madiha. Madiha was a full-time mom for many years, had 2 children, really wanted to get into the tech sector, didn't know how to start. And with the help of the organization, she managed to learn, to upgrade her skills, to learn what's needed, and then start her career again. So we're not talking here about hundreds of thousands of people. It doesn't matter. It's about these life-changing moments that we have managed to create in this organization. And it's just try to offer you as an example of what is needed to be able to do that. And this was the first one, is focus on the one change that you want to achieve, and get that person, in case of like social change, social mobility, that's the change that you want to be able to bring. And that makes it all meaningful. The mantra number 2 is people always see the finances as a restriction. They believe if I don't get a lot of resources, a big funding, a big grant, I won't be able to do it. Well, Code Your Future started with zero money. It all started in an office, hosted by another organization. It started with a number of people on the weekends to be able to create that change. If you're doing something meaningful, the finances will come. You will sort it out. You do not need to go full time. You do not need to put your savings into it. Do this while you are having a safety net, while you're making a living, but make that impact in at least one person, in a small number of people, and everything else will unravel. Everything else will follow. So nowadays we're working with loads of groups and a huge variety of ages. We support people from neurodiversity background. We work people living below poverty line. We're now supporting and created an organization that can sustain itself, that can make enough income to be able to continue that work. But this is a work of time. It takes time. It takes years, but that should be You have to be patient to achieve that, but you can start creating that change from day number one if you are wise in the resources that you're utilizing. And Code Your Future, we also support people financially, and we created a part-time training, and nowadays we are able to offer laptops, childcare, and internet. Now, all of this, why were we offering part-time training? Well, so that it would allow people to come participate, and knowing that a lot of people would have to work, but also on the other side, the people that were supporting Code Your Future were also working. So it worked for the whole community, because it meant, well, we can do these things on the side. We don't have to leave our jobs on the side of the person learning, or the person, or on the other side of people giving the skill. They could both participate in creating an environment in a space of time where they were both available. So think of flexibility, think of just which are the most meaningful aspects on where to spend any money that you might receive at the beginning, and then you can create that change. So at the beginning, the first few £1,000s that we received were all for the financial support to the individuals that were participating, and then we kept working on top of that. Great, let's carry on. Third, we hear a lot about this, but do what you love. And do what you love doesn't mean that you have to go straight to make this big, complex project to start with. It's about following the things that you really want to spend your time doing. You have to work, that's fine. You still have hours available to do other stuff that you're passionate about. And I can take from my personal experience that every single thing that I have done in my life has helped me to help shape and guide Code Your Future to what it is today. I am Latin American. I'm not, I live in London. I don't have loads of connections. I don't, English is not my first language, but that Latin American experience helped me a lot to be resourceful and resilient. Then I spent a lot of time working at student organizations, working in the sense of spending time, not as a living, but that gave me a lot of the experience of what it is nowadays, the community work of Code Your Future. And I was always passionate about doing some theater, spending time on productions, and about doing some literature. That helped a lot. Also later on to help other people to make the organization more alive, to get everyone to connect. And then finally, yes, my background in innovation and engineering, of course it helped, but actually not a software developer. I cannot code, but that helped me to just connect people, to learn from startups, to learn from events like this one, to do what I wanted to do. And then all of that gets connected to what we're offering right now, which is an inclusive training. We don't have classrooms, we don't have teachers, we're not a boot camp. This is a community that all gets together to share skills, because everyone that is here learns a lot out of it. And this is something that you have, this is a power tool that you have. We take a lot of people into employment paths, web development, cloud engineering, product management. But again, it started all very, very small. We were, it was all about just training, get people into JavaScript, learn some basics, and be able to start a career. And then from there, it starts evolving. And then a lot of things that I have connected with, which is around the time. People think that you need to be successful from the beginning. And you do not have to worry about that. You only have to worry about mantra number one, which is the one change that you can start from the moment you're launching whatever project you want to work on, and then allow time to be in your favor, to keep building the experience, to learn from it, to demonstrate to other organizations, to companies, to people that this is meaningful, that this is worthwhile. And the more time you manage to stick around, and you manage to evolve and to grow, the more things will start making sense and communicating and connect. You might not be 100% sure what you're doing, what is the change that you want to bring, but This time will allow you to just to demonstrate, to show, to reveal. So don't put time a pressure, make it a resource. The longer time you spend doing something, the better you get at it, the better the organization, the project gets at it. And then it disconnects a lot with age. Some people are very young, some people are older. It doesn't mean one is better than the other from my experience. If people have a bunch of experience, that's great. The time has given you a lot. And then if you're young and then you have the luxury of the time to spend on it and to learn from it. Great. And then the mantra number 5, and this is, I believe, is the last one, is that it takes a village to do anything. At the beginning, you might be alone or you might be with another person, but from the very beginning, think on how to connect with other people. Shout out about it, ask for help, share what you want to do, and make an inclusive project. Try to get other people, get them excited about it. It doesn't matter what you're doing. You can always connect with other people and get them excited about it. Or you yourself can join another community, another organization that is bringing that change and be part of it. No matter what we're doing, we want to feel we are part of something, that we belong. And nowadays, in this super hyper connected world, everybody's talking about connectivity, but what it really matters, the basics, they're all remain the same. We want to be friends, we want to share, we want to spend a good time in a group of people. So if you can bring that in whatever you do, then you're doing something where you can use the most powerful resource on earth, which is other people's will, other people's power, other people's determination to do something, and together you can bring something. It's the power of the will that really makes a big difference. This is just like, all these pictures are from CodeYourFuture activities, CodeYourFuture folks. There have been hundreds and hundreds of people that have been through what we do in the last 5 years to make possible that change of those individuals, that examples that I'm talking about. Nowadays, in terms of, just to give you an idea of what can happen in 5 years, you can work with loads of ethnic minorities. You can really get the majority of people creating this lasting change. It doesn't matter the people's situation. If you really concentrate on a very specific target group and you know what you want to achieve with them, that change can happen with the right set of resources. And then never make age, from my perspective, an issue. Is not a problem. It doesn't matter the people you want to work with, their age, and it doesn't matter what's your age. And always think of inclusivity. Always try to think of all these different areas. Think of ethnicity, think of gender, think of age, think of neurodiversity, think of socioeconomic background, and then concentrate on what it is the part that you want to work on. So I'm closing in. So this is me, Germán from CodeYourFuture. Maybe we have a couple of minutes to I'm going to check for check your comments, but then we can jump into the other section. Okay. Okay. Yeah, this is a great question, Rob. Why we're not a bootcamp? So we're not a bootcamp because, first, we do not offer intensive short-term training. We take a long time to get people through the program. So it's not about intensity, it's about getting time to be on our side. Second of all, we don't work with just get in and get out. We work with people and then we help them no matter for how long we are gonna be supporting them. The third thing is that we don't have teachers, we don't have classrooms, we don't have specific trainings. We get a lot of people joining a community, like the pictures that you see in there, all of them get involved to support a project. So that for us, it makes us very different to a bootcamp. We make everything through communities. Communities are the ones that bring the change of people's lives. So we think it is quite different. We also support financially, as I mentioned, with laptop, childcare, internet to people. We haven't come across any other organization that works in this sector that does this kind of work. You have to pay them to be able to participate. Great. Is this all the time I have? Is there any other questions? Me trying to achieve, I'm not trying to achieve anything through this specific place. I just want to share my experience. If there is anyone that can get some inspiration and can learn something from it and wants to take on their own initiative, their own project, is interested in CodeYourFuture, welcome. But in principle, it's just about giving the experience to people so that they can go and be inspired to do something else. Super. So for those that are interested in Q&A, we're going to go to another space, to the Upstart space. Thank you, Tom. So we're going to go there. Is there anyone that wants to have a conversation? So for another 10 minutes, okay? So click there and find my name, and then we can have a chat there. Thank you so much for listening.